Most people think that you need a six-figure salary to build wealth. But if you have a few things under control, then you can build wealth even on a low salary. And this is something I did early in my career. I was still building wealth. It may have not been a huge amount of money that was being invested into the markets. It was still money that was being invested. I was still building wealth at my pace. You can definitely still build wealth on a low income. Some of the things I'm going to talk about are things you've probably heard me talk about in other videos. To be honest, finances are very simple. If you can just control your big three, your housing, transportation, and food, then you can build wealth easily. I'm telling you guys, life is simple and it's only as complicated as you make it. And it gets more complicated once you start having debt and payments on different things. So the first thing you need to do to build wealth on a low income is to lower your housing. Housing is usually the highest expense that someone has in their budget. We're talking about $1,500 for rent, $2,000, $3,000 for rent. And in some areas, that's what it is for a studio apartment. $2,000. Like in Boston, when we lived in Boston, that's how much that stuff was going for. My scenario, I was making about $3,000 a month for my regular job, and then we had rent. We're not gonna be able to afford to live in Boston. We're not gonna be able to afford to live within 10 or 15 minutes from the city center. So we had to move 45 minutes from the city center, find an apartment, and that apartment was still half of our income. So you can see like how expensive it is out there. I could have rented a room, which I was about to do that, for $700, which would have opened up my money even more, but I decided to get an apartment that was actually like $1,200 a month, which was a pretty good deal to only be 45 minutes from the city. So I got lower housing that was still half of my income, but then I also ended up getting another job. That helps as well, having more income coming in. The more income you can bring in and pairing that up with good habits, the better. You need to live below your means when it comes to housing. You may be able to afford something more expensive. I'm not sure, it depends on your income. If you're low income, then you more than likely can't afford something that's too expensive. So if you only have the option for an expensive apartment or expensive housing payment in your area, then you need to find a roommate. A roommate will help you cut down your housing as much as possible. You have an apartment that costs $2,000 and you can pay $1,000 if you share with the roommate, then why not do that? Why would you go for that single bedroom apartment that may cost $1,500 when you can have a roommate in your two bedroom that costs $2,000 and you pay $1,000, and with that extra $500 that would have gone to that single bedroom apartment, you can put that towards investing, put that towards building wealth. You have $500 left over. You're going to invest that into the markets monthly, say at 8% rate of return for 5 years. That's going to be $36,000. If you invested $500 for 20 years, $300,000. I'm not saying you stay in that situation for 20 years, but you just get the ball going so that you can start building that compound interest as fast as you can. So if you can invest that difference of $500 to the market, say you have a roommate for 5 years, that's $36,000 that you're gonna have invested into the market. And then when you start making more money, you can start putting $1,000 to that and kind of move out that apartment, go get a different apartment and add more money to your investments because you're making more money. We don't want to stay at this low income. We want to eventually make more money. That is always the goal. But we want to make sure we pair that up with good spending habits and good wealth building habits. And then number two, you want to avoid lifestyle inflation. If you're on a low income, there really should be no lifestyle inflation because your income is more precious. It's more important to you. You need to hold it tight because you only have but so much. You cannot go out here spending money in random places, not knowing where your money's going because you don't have much of it. You cannot waste your money if you're on a low income. So once you actually start looking for that next job, because we need to increase our income, if we're going to ultimately be millionaires and build wealth, we can do this over a long period of time, but it might take a long time if you do this on low income. So once you're starting as low income, work your job, invest your money, live below your means, but also continue to look for that higher paying job. Keep scaling up so you can get more and more money so that you can invest more and more money. And while you're scaling up that income, make sure you avoid lifestyle inflation. We do not want to increase our lifestyle because we make more money. If you're already living frugal on making, $36,000 a year or $40,000 or $50,000 a year, then when you start making 70, 80, 90, 100, 120, whatever it is, continue to kind of stay down and live the way you were living when you're making $50,000. Like I said in a different video, a little lifestyle inflation is okay. You worked hard to get that income. You worked hard to get those raises. Definitely spend it in some places. But if you're not investing and hitting your marks, then you need to avoid lifestyle inflation. So as soon as you get that pay raise, Don't go get that luxury apartment. Don't go get that single bedroom apartment. Continue staying with that roommate and invest the extra money that you're making. I'm telling you guys, it feels way better to have a healthy, wealthy, big investment account than it does to have that nice one-bedroom apartment or that super nice car, especially if your investments are not up to par. Another way to build wealth on a low income is to start investing now. Start investing early. I just recently texted my siblings. One's 20 and the other is 22 or 23. I was like, are you guys investing? One is investing, the older one is investing. Not a lot, but the younger one is not investing. And I said, hey, you need to get on it with investing. Investing is very important. And the earlier you start, the better. You can start building wealth, like we saw earlier, with $500 a month on your low income. First thing you have to do is lower your housing, and then you can start building wealth with your low income. But if you have high housing, high car costs, high food budget, then you're not gonna be able to invest no money. So you wanna start investing as soon as possible and as early as possible. Whether that's $50, $100, $200, start investing something. Get that habit going. Get that investing habit going. Like, I don't care if it's $50 a month. Do something consistently and at least for a year. If you're gonna do $50 a month, then do that for a whole year, because I'm telling you, when you start making more money, it's gonna be like clockwork. Like, you've been investing for a year or two now, $50 or $100, whatever it is, and now you're making $100,000 a year. You're like, okay, I can invest $600 a month into my 401k. And then I also can invest $600 a month into my Roth IRA. Because you've been doing this for a long time. It's just more numbers. The act is the same. You're just dealing with a bigger price tag, but the action is the exact same. So you need a dollar cost average into the market and invest into the S&P 500. Invest in the VOO, FXAIX, the total stock market. I've been investing into the market for the last 5 years, but I really just started getting heavy into it about 3 or 2 years ago, and I already know my numbers. I know how much I need to invest monthly so I can retire when I'm 49, because that's what I plan on doing. So you have to have these things lined up, and like I said, we're not staying at this low income forever. This should be a temporary income. Whether we have to get 2 jobs or go out here and apply for a higher paying job, we need to do that so we can make more money so that we can invest that money. Fourth thing is to keep your car affordable. We do not want to have a car payment if we have a low income, because again, that's going to be taking up all your budget. Say you don't listen to me, right? And you go and get this $2,000 a month rent. And then you go get a car payment that's $600. How much is insurance? $300. How much is gas? $200. You're paying over $3,000 for your car and your place to stay. This is something that we cannot do on a low income. Again, like I said, you need to hold on to your money, especially if you're on a low income, because you only have but so much of it. A car payment can absolutely destroy your cash flow, especially if you're on a low income. So we want to avoid car payments at all costs. To be honest, guys, we want to stay down for at least 10 years after college or after high school, after 18. We want to stay down until we're like 30. That's what we're doing. And I would highly recommend that you guys do this. Stay down. And when I say stay down, I'm talking about stay with your parents or find a way to lower your housing, whether it's a roommate or house hacking like we're doing. Get a car payment, especially if you're not hitting your investment marks. That's the main thing. And the fifth thing you need to do to build wealth on a low income is to increase your income slowly. Now, whether you need to do overtime, whether you need to move up in the company that you're in, or find another job or get a second job, certifications, whatever you need to do, we need to get out of this low income situation as fast as possible. We cannot make $50K a year or $40K a year, $30K a year for the rest of our lives, especially if we plan on being wealth builders. You can do it, but you're gonna have to live with this roommate or live in this lower housing situation for a long time, and it may not be the most comfortable thing to do. You're going to have to not be able to get a car payment for a long time or for the rest of your life if you continue to have this lower income. We have to find ways to build our income. And I think one of the best ways to find a high-paying job is to get into one of the trades. Like, I think it's completely reasonable to pull out debt, go to trade school, especially if it's not too much. Like, I would probably max out at like 20, 30K for trade school. I'm not really sure how much trade school is. Matter of fact, let me see how much trade school is. Because trades are always gonna be a need. Like, we're always building, we're always doing something. So trade school or vocational school generally costs between $5,000 and $15,000 in total tuition and fees. I think it's completely reasonable to pull out a $15,000 loan to go to trade school, get into whichever trade interests you the most, whether that's being an electrician, a plumber, HVAC, whatever it is, and get into that trade, because we're always building. Electricians are always going to be needed. Plumbers are always going to be needed. Technology, AI will never replace someone that's in trade school. I think that's a great path to go down. I also am a huge advocate for working at retail stores like Walmart, Target, and moving up the ranks like that, because I believe that majority of the people that work there don't look at it as, this is my final place, this is where I'm going to make my career. But I think it can be a very good place to start a career and actually move up. When I worked at Walmart, we had the store manager, and I still need to make maybe 80. I thought maybe he make $100,000. The store manager was like 35, 36. So imagine you start working at Walmart 18 and you become a store manager by 30. Like, the world is your oyster. You can get into Walmart corporate, like be a regional manager at different Walmarts. I've met people that are regional managers at Walmart, and it's just like, man, that's just so cool to think that they're actually working at Walmart, and you can actually make a career out of working at these retail places. You don't need to get rich overnight. You just need to steadily build your income year after year. This is your financial journey, and it's going to be a long journey, so there's no need to rush it, but be sure you're always looking to increase that income. And finally, stay consistent. You can build wealth on a low income, but you got to stay consistent. You got to dollar cost average to the market and just continue to invest. No matter what's going on, no matter the downturn, no matter if you might have not got paid the max amount what you should be getting paid, you should still have some kind of buffer. You should be living way below your expenses, especially if you have a low income. But consistency always wins. There's no need to time the market. Just continue to invest your money. And as you make more money, you need to invest more money. Live like you were living when you were making $40,000 or $50,000. Like I said, a little bit lifestyle inflation is not always bad, but we need to be sure that we're investing our number into the market, whatever that number is for you. My number that I invest in the market may be different for you, but we're consistently investing, and we've been consistently investing for 5 years now. So building wealth on a low income is possible, but it starts with your expenses. So building wealth on a low income is possible, but it starts with your expenses, living below your mean, and slowly increasing your income. All at the same time, you're still investing whatever you can, because we need to get that ball rolling so that compound interest can kick in as you get older, as your investment portfolio grows. So let me know what you guys think about this video. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to check out those links below. I have a great link. It is Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile is a phone plan that I use. $60 a month my wife and I are paying for 2 phones, and you pay the entire bill for the year, so you don't got to worry about paying it monthly. You just got to put that money aside every single month. At the end of the year, you pay whatever that number is, and you're good to go for the rest of the year. Mint Mobile is amazing, and you guys check it out, especially if you're on a low income. You want to have a low phone bill. That's how you lower your expenses, right? So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, leave a like, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.